You fake ass Tony Hawk looking motherfucker. That's something a woman said to me one time as I rode my BMX bike through the city of Newburgh. I don't know if she just didn't understand that Tony Hawk rode a skateboard and not a BMX bike, or if it was that I had a helmet on and she didn't know that people who wear helmets and ride bikes aren't necessarily all Tony Hawk, or if she was just trying to flirt with me. But it was funny, nevertheless. So this is the Tony Hawk HUCK Jam Series Bad Seed BMX bike. Is that Bad Seed all one word, or is it the Bad Seed? The Bad Seed. So, the first thing I got to do on this bike is try and fix these handlebars. I think what happened is the kid who had this bike was a little too little for it. So they leaned the handlebars back so he could grab them. Fair enough, but now they look really stupid. So I'm going to take my 6mm wrench and I'm going to loosen the stem, and I'm going to loosen it down here too. See how this gap and this gap, they're not the same size? You want to try and have the gaps like about the same size. That means the stem is tightened evenly. And now, okay, they're adjusted. No, I've got to straighten them up. You see? And I'm going to put the handlebars so they're like a little less than parallel with the fork. It's kind of hard to do holding the camera, so what I'll do is I'll tighten one of the bolts just to get the thing from stop flopping. So you see, they're a little back from parallel to the fork. So if you took a line and drew it up from the fork here, this would be a little less than parallel to that line. And I think that's a way better adjustment. Now the stem, I'm going to tighten it. I'm going to try to tighten it evenly. I don't know the exact torque specification. Like, you don't want to under tighten these or else your handlebars will slip. And this is a cheap stem and cheap bars and everything's painted, so they're probably going to slip anyway, but you don't want it to be because of maladjustment. But you don't want to over tighten them and put too much tension on the bolts. So what I'm going to do is tighten it like this for now, and then later on maybe I'll come back and get out the torque wrench. But now the stem is like a little too high. So I got this 14mm. How do I know it's a 14mm? Because it's Taiwanese, and that's how it goes. Now unfortunately I didn't bring like a hammer or anything, because you gotta tap this to loosen up the wedge. Ah, it's loose. Sort of wedged my foot against the thing. So I want to go down a little bit, just so it doesn't look so stupid. Is that too far? No, we're gonna go down even further. This is harder to do while I'm holding the camera with one hand than it would be if I used a tripod, but I think I'm doing all right. So now I'm gonna tighten this back up. And again, you don't wanna, tighten it till it strips and back it off a quarter, as my friend used to say, but you also don't wanna leave it loose. So I think it looks a lot better now. Let's prop it back up. See, now it almost looks like a legitimate BMX bike, but it's this small frame BMX bike. It's like for a little kid. It has 20-inch wheels, but the frame is short. See, there's not much of a triangle here. It's kind of clumped together in the front. This is short. The cranks are long. So what they did here, instead of making a bike with little tiny cranks for a little kid, they made essentially a full-size BMX bike, but they scaled down the frame. It's a good idea. Now overall, I'm not going to say that this bike is a good idea, because it's pretty much just a Walmart bike, or Kmart, or Target, wherever they sell it. It looks good. It's got pegs, it's got these aluminum wheels that are mildly reminiscent of Moto Mags, or, you know, the old school BMX heads will probably have a better match. They almost look like a paisley curtain or something with these swoopy lines. But these wheels are stupid. Like the back wheel, I had to replace the tube, and the tube valve was just stuck in this hole, all corroded and everything. And the paint kind of peeling off. They're hard to clean. I like these forks. I mean, they didn't really pay a lot of attention to the capping, but the fork comes down like a wedge. You could split wood with that. And then you have pegs that are going to unravel on your first grind because they're just threaded onto the axle. But most kids who are buying this bike aren't going to do grinds on it. They're just going to use the pegs for their, you know, to take their friends to the store or something. So there's your HUCK jam. This is called the worm's eye view. I'm trying not to get my shadow in the thing, but I hate the worm's eye view. So you got the white handlebars, and there's like a skull theme going on. You come back here to the seat, you can see more skulls. That almost looks like a Hoffman Bikes logo, but it's Tony Hawk HUCK Jam. Solid, like, cast iron cranks. Platform pedals. These pedals look alright. And somebody stripped the threads going into this side right here, so you can't get this pedal all the way tightened, but it'll probably never be a problem. And, you know, little ODI long neck fake grips that say HUCK Jam on them. The brakes work, but they're kind of these really cheap. I don't even think they're alloy, I think they're steel. So that's the Tony Hawk Bad Seed, the Tony Hawk HUCK Jam series Bad Seed kids BMX bike. Looks a lot better now that I straighten the handlebars out. And you know, as much as I kind of oppose the concept of Tony Hawk selling BMX bikes, because why? But this thing's kind of growing on me. You know, if I had a kid, I wouldn't buy it for him, because I'm kind of a bike asshole, so I'd want him to ride something really expensive. But you know, as long as you keep on top of this thing and make sure that it doesn't go out of adjustment, it ain't bad. A lot of kids are going to be happy with this bike. So, Tony Hawk Bad Seed here at the Newburgh Public Library. Thanks for watching.